Hi guys! Today we talk about relationship crazy stories. Please support me and Jerry, subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much. And we start. First story from user Sterile. My girlfriend told me she is pregnant, but I am sterile. I got into an accident after my college and will never be able to have kids. None of my family members know of this. They know about the accident, but not about this. I have always wanted to be child-free, so it did not affect me much mentally. I have finished my master's degree last year and never dated before. I got a very high-paying job directly through campus placements. My parents immediately wanted me to get married after getting a job, but I wanted to work on myself and explore a bit. They said no, and I said that it was my wish. All my life I did what they wanted, and for the first time when I talked against them, they were not happy. This was last year, and they gave up after COVID started. So I picked up some dating apps and went through them, but no luck. Then my parents introduced me to a family friend's daughter, and we clicked. Kinda. Looking back, I was a fool. She said yes to anything I said and never complained about anything. I felt kinda weird about it. I wanted her to express her interests, but she always said she was interested in whatever I do. Well, I did not think much about it. I said that I won't have kids ever, and she surprisingly said, okay. I was like, damn. She is probably the one, as it is very hard to find a partner who is child-free in my country. Or at least I thought. But we were in the initial stages, and I have not told about my accident. Long story short, we had sex a month ago. I used condoms because safety first. The next day on, she started ghosting me a bit. I thought it was due to my performance in bed and wanted to give her some space. Then she texted infrequently and only replied, OKS and KS, and one-line answers. I thought maybe she wanted to end the relation and was sad, but left it at that. Yesterday, all her family came to my house, and she claims she's pregnant, and the father is me. Needless to say, I freaked get out and wanted to collapse on the ground. I did not say anything while they were talking about marriage and stuff that needs to happen because I got her pregnant. Update. Let me start off by saying I'm very, very grateful for all the Redditors who took their time to read and give me advice. I was overwhelmed by the amount of comments and how many of you said it might not even be my kid. Looking at it from a different perspective gave me much more insight on the whole situation. I called my boss and took today off. I called up some clinics to get tested and was given a slot on Friday afternoon. Then I went to the store and bought some pregnancy tests and asked only her to come to my place tomorrow, today morning. I also called my parents, and before I said anything, my mom asked me if I had any good news. I was shocked by what she said, and asked me what exactly she was talking about. She then played dumb, and I knew that the situation was more messed up than I thought. I cut the call and cried all night till 3 a.m. Grown-ass man crying for the first time since 8th class. She came today morning with her parents, even after I told her to come alone. They were under the impression that I was going to discuss engagement plans with them. I told them to wait outside and called her in, and they threw a fit. I told they can all go back, or let her alone come in. They said okay. I took out the pregnancy tests and gave it to her, and told her to prove that she was actually pregnant, and told her where the bathroom was. She started screaming at me. Never done this before. I was shocked at this. Then she went out the door and called her parents in. Now everyone is screaming at me in my own home because I asked her to prove the pregnancy, not even a DNA test. I told them all to get off, and 1 hour later, my parents and they all came to my home, and they spilled the beans. She was never actually pregnant, as many Redditors said. My parents were afraid that I was getting old for marriage and wanted me to marry and give them grandchildren. They said that in arranged marriages, no need for the people to actually get to know the spouse because parents choose only the best for their kids. They planned this all and were only waiting for me to have sex with her to do this. I broke down and cried again. All my life, I did exactly what my parents wanted, always scored high and never asked for anything. I told them to get out and never talk to me again in between crying, and they said parents know what's best for their kids and I should do what they say. Then I got extremely angry and told them to damn themselves in my native language, which was very bad. For once, I think they knew I was serious with them, and they all left. I blocked them all before sending my parents a message to never again contact me in my life, even if one of you is dying. User joking around. I agree with this. Do not get married, and it's time to step away from your family. You need to tell them the truth about your inability to have children, assuming that is still the case. She was probably pregnant before you guys were together and slept with you so she could peg you as the dad. Definitely get the baby tested, in addition to your sperm count. If your parents blame you for your inability to have kids, it's time to part ways. This is not something that should be held against you. Lord Wellington: I couldn't agree more. Do not marry this woman, especially because there's a pretty big chance you aren't the father. You also do not give a timeline. What's the time between when you had sex and when she's saying she's pregnant? Because it takes a few weeks for your body to even alert you that you're pregnant unless you're actively trying. My hunch is she slept with you, was talking to someone else, and had sex with them. But since you two were seeing each other and family friends, it's easier to pin it on you. You should communicate to your family and hers that you were told you were sterile. I think this will give you breathing room to get a test for yourself and for her. Last said, I agree with this list. My ex was told that he was sterile, and surprise, surprise, he got his next girlfriend pregnant. I'm surprised that you didn't just say it outright, I'm sterile, to at least see what her reaction was. I feel like this is some sort of trap to get you married. Second story from Snow Globe. Husband cheated on me with his fit and skinny gym friend. I came home from work early. I'm an OB nurse, so my hours are pretty unpredictable, and found female sneakers in the garage that weren't mine. At that point, I sort of already knew what I'd be walking into. My husband has recently become very fit and has been consistently going to the gym, during which he made a female friend, who he even brought home for dinner last week. She's beautiful and thin and everything I am not, which instantly made me feel horrible. So I talked to him about it. He encouraged me to build my confidence and reassured me he loved me and would always be loyal to me. I walked into the laundry room from the garage and sort of tiptoed around the house before going upstairs. They were having sex in our bed, with a framed picture from our wedding above the nightstand next to it. I silently left the room and got back in my car with tears streaming down my face, and drove to get food and just sat in my car crying since. It's now almost 1 a.m. Walked in on them at 7 p.m., and I've returned to the hospital. He called me asking why I wasn't home, and I told him my shift is extended, but in reality, I'm laying in one of the on-call rooms bawling my eyes out as I type this. I feel so worthless and ugly and stupid. I don't even know how to proceed. On one hand, I want to divorce him and never see him again, but on the other hand, I'm an ugly woman. It's not like I can do better. I just want to die. I feel so gross, and the self-loathing is getting too much right now. Advice, please. I still have no idea what I am going to do, and I know everyone wants me to leave, but a marriage is more than can be illustrated with a couple of words on a website. He was a great husband, and I can't help but feel at fault for neglecting myself weight-wise. I don't know if I will stay, but that's all I really know right now. Comments. User Olive So Lives. When you see a woman that you don't find particularly attractive or skinny walking down the street with her partner, do you think, she deserves to be cheated on? I really don't think so. You wouldn't be this mean to anyone else, so why treat yourself this way? Odd Frosty. Take it from me. The worst possible thing is to stay with him because you are afraid of not finding someone else. Life is just too short to be miserable with someone who doesn't value you. You are still young. Don't waste that time. User Yeecall. Physically, I am an ugly woman. I'd give myself a 4 out of 10. I have a husband that does not sleep with a skank that he met at the gym. Don't give him that out. He doesn't deserve it. Also, we don't see ourselves fairly. I am a solid 4 IMO, but he thinks I'm beautiful. The boy can't lie to save his life, and he thinks I'm beautiful. He tells me all the time, you don't see yourself as you are, and I am telling you from one ugly woman to another that you deserve better than a man who says he loves you than get another woman in your bed. You damn deserve better. I know that you are afraid you have to be, but you deserve better. One more time, in case you missed it. You deserve better. You are not unlovable. You are not worth less than her. You are not seeing yourself clearly. Forget his loser dick wandering self and take care of yourself. I'd get a lawyer, then start going to hobby meetups. Find something that you love doing, and you will find someone that you love doing next story. From Throra, Love Help. My wife is denying we're married and wants to be called my girlfriend. I'm confused. My wife and I have been married 4 years now, coming on 5. We have generally had a good relationship and a good marriage. We had a reasonably expensive wedding, which we're still paying for now. I get the bill every month to prove it. My wife took charge of planning the wedding, so it was to her tastes. She seemed to enjoy it at the time, and for the first few years of our marriage, she would look back at the wedding with me happily and without issues. In recent months, I've noticed my wife's attitude to A, our wedding, and B, our marriage itself, shift. It began by her, I thought jokingly, referring to herself as my girlfriend. She told me to buy her a girlfriend card for Valentine's Day, rather than a wife one, for example. I thought she was just playing around at first, but this behavior has only escalated. 2 months ago, my wife stopped wearing her wedding ring. I was understandably upset and asked her if there was something wrong. She told me everything was fine and she just doesn't like the sensation of jewelry on her hands. My wife has never liked rings and jewelry, so this could be the case. But when we are with friends, my wife will get upset if I talk about her as my wife, rather than just a girlfriend. She will go as far to interrupt me if I'm talking, telling a story to correct me on our relationship. Initially, this was something our friends laughed at, but now everybody just finds it understandably awkward. One of our friends was talking about their own wedding, which is scheduled for early next year. They asked for advice from my wife about how she'd planned ours, and my wife responded with, "What wedding?" When our friend continued talking about the table decorations my wife had used, my wife visibly teared up in front of the whole group and had to step outside. Later that evening, I asked her directly if she has a problem with our relationship or if I'm doing something wrong in our marriage. She assured me that everything is fine between us. From my perspective, outside of this issue, our relationship is as strong as ever. We are considering kids in the near future, our sex life is great, and my wife recently suggested we get matching tattoos as a renewal of our love. Comments. Lurking like a savage said, "No kids until you find out what the hell is going on." The real rawgery. As someone who is dealing with a divorce after having a child, OP, you need to seriously listen to this person. I love my son, but being a single parent is hard. Thinking your relationship is rock solid and there's a weird period is totally different than seeing the situation from the outside. Listen to advice, you might not see yourself. She is having post-wedding blues. She wrapped herself up in the wedding and it's done. Les said, "Exactly. Honestly, this sounds like a severe mental health crisis, a medical or neurological issue, or, dare I say it, early onset Alzheimer's." Oh, P. Is she currently taking any medications that have forgetfulness as a side effect? My mom got some really strong medicine to counter tremors she has in her legs, and she started behaving really irrationally on them. We feared the worst, but it was the meds bashing holes into her memory. In any case, this is not normal. Not normal at all. She needs professional and medical help immediately. Next story. From Intelligent Tad. My girlfriend cheated on me. My friends knew that and told me after our breakup. After an argument on her birthday party, she cheated on me. We argued and I got into the car, even though I was supposed to sleep at her place. The last thing she told me was that I'm aggressive and she is scared of me, which is totally BS. She knows that I would never hit her or any woman. That's just not me. So I was pissed off, told her to fuck off, and went to sleep in my car. She stayed at the party till like 7 in the morning. She called me in the morning and asked me, "What's wrong with you?" So I told her that if she had that kind of attitude towards our relationship, or if this is really all that she tells me after yesterday night, we are breaking up. She wanted to explain it, so I went to see her. I told her that I didn't like what she said, and I also apologized for the fuck off thing. She told me that she needed a 3-day break, that she was overwhelmed right now, that it wasn't me, that she knew that she loved me, but that she needed to be alone right now. I gave her time, and after about a week, I went to see her. She told me that she didn't know, that she didn't want us to argue and worry, that she wanted it to be wonderful like before, that if we broke up, a piece of her would fall away, and that she would give us a vacation, which we were supposed to go on in 4 days, as a test to see if it would work. I told her that it didn't make sense to me for us to test how a relationship works in a friend's party. It's mainly about how we communicate and tell each other what we don't like, and the important times is just us. I ended up breaking up with her that day, for many reasons. When she's drunk, she acts like a total freak. She drinks quite often. She's a teenager. I don't feel supported by her, and I also think she only wants to see me when she's bored and nobody else wants to be with her. I've communicated all these things with her before. There was no change. She left crying. The whole time it bothered me that I shouldn't have done it, that it was just a bad time of year. I finally went on vacation with my friends and her. She acted like we're friends, like nothing happened between us. After 4 days of vacation, her friend told me that she cheated on me at the party, that the whole group knew but they didn't want to tell me. I immediately packed my things and am waiting for the bus home. I never want to see her or those fake friends again. They knew for a whole week that she cheated on me and no one said anything. She cheats on me and then tells me how much she loves me and how her life would be completely boring without me. So what is it? I'm starting to think there is no good in people. I would never allow myself to do this. And I don't understand how someone can do this and still calmly look you in the eyes. Comments. User, I was told something. Find new friends. Digital Amy said, definitely agreed. There are a lot of people who would tell you. This is a them problem. It's hard to lose a lot of people at once like this, but they've shown you who they are. But try not to let it poison you. Remember Samwise. There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and that's worth fighting for. A bunch of friends knew my girlfriend cheated on me when I was gone for 10 weeks over summer for work. Cut them all out of my life when it all came out. In the long run, it was the best thing to happen in my adult life, and was 20 years ago, but it still pisses me off. De Giovanni said, my advice to you is to permanently move on from literally every single one of those people. Your now ex cheated on you. She also sounds very, very immature, with her breaks and tests, and you should be wary of anyone who needs to drink as much as she seems to. I don't think she's ready for any sort of committed relationship. Your friends knew, but chose to keep you in the dark. That shows a clear lack of respect. These people do not have your best interests in mind. I don't know you, but I know you can do better than this pack of assholes. Last story from Throra. My fiancé and I decided to break up, but she couldn't move out due to the lockdown. After about 4 months isolating with her, I've realized I don't want to break up anymore. My fiancé and I have been dating since college, and as soon as we graduated, I proposed to her. However, we decided to get married only once we're both financially stable and okay with our jobs. 2 years down the road, we've also been living together for that long, we now meet those requirements. However, our love for each other disappeared. Or at least the spark we used to have. We became very busy, her with her graduate education plus job, and me with my work. I admit I've been spending way too much time in the office, and once I get home, I use my free time to get ahead with deadlines and stuff. She's also constantly stressed, as she's juggling her education and her teaching job. We never had time for each other anymore, but we were still busy enough to even notice that. Then March came. She approached me with the subject and we had a long talk. It was an emotional one. We've known each other for so long after all, and we were reaching our end after so many years. She was already in the process of booking flights to stay with her parents for a while when the lockdown was announced. She decided to not go home anymore, in fear of possibly carrying the virus and infecting her family. I agreed with that decision, and since then, we've been isolating together. We're both working from home now, and she also finished her studies on April. Because of that, we've been having a lot of free time. At first, it felt a bit awkward. I didn't even know how to talk to her anymore. I got used to short and empty small talk with her, but she's always known how to get me out of my shell, so it didn't take too long before we were having full conversations once again. I just found out that she's had a newfound love for playing Sims 4. She sent me the family she was playing with currently, and I noticed that it was herself and me, plus a dog and a cat whose names were our birth months, lol. She had been so shy initially, but she doesn't know that I was also feeling flustered then. I think this is the start of me questioning our decision to break up. After that, it was the small things. I also caught her up on how my life has been, like my shitty supervisor, how I haven't been taking care of my health lately, etc. And since then, she started pushing me to work out with her, and she's also been trying to get me into healthier options of food. I also came to find out new things about her in these months, which is surprising considering how we've been together for many years now. These past few months have been really good. I felt like I was brought back to the times when we first met, and I feel like a high schooler with a crush. The thing is, I'm not sure if I can trust my feelings right now. The only person I've had contact with was her, except for my frequent calls with family and friends, and I may be just having an infatuation right now. I also think we're lucky, since we're both very free right now. But I keep thinking, what happens after the lockdown ends? Will we go back to being those busy people that have too little time for each other? I also don't know how to approach her with this. She's always been the talker in our relationship, you know? But at the same time, I'm also afraid to talk about it and potentially ruin things for us right now. What if she doesn't feel the same? What if she's just treating me kindly because that's what she is? A genuinely kind person. The only hope I'm holding on to right now is the fact that she hasn't planned on going back to her family yet, despite domestic travels being allowed in our country now. Update. I spent that day reflecting on what kind of future I see and want with her. I also thought a lot about the past, how we messed it up, how we both got too lost in our jobs, etc. In my original post, I asked if what I'm feeling could be just an infatuation that would go as quickly as I came, but I realized that my feelings for her never really disappeared to begin with. It's like my heart just went in a deep sleep, and I forgot how much feelings I carry for her. I think some of you may know, and have pointed out, that I'm not really good at communicating my feelings. I tend to keep things to myself, and my fiancé is one of the few people who can be patient with that. Some suggested to write a letter instead, or a note, or marry her in Sims. I ended up with drafts of sappy letters that I ended up scraping, and a sad attempt to recreate us in The Sims. But still, I wanted to make an effort to show her what I couldn't say through words. I've heard about her wanting a few DLCs in The Sims in the past, so I had the idea to buy a few for her. Sims DLCs are pretty expensive, especially in our currency. Surprised her by stealing her laptop for a few hours, and once I gave it back to her, she was elated and so happy. It was really nice seeing her get so excited over it. We played together that whole day and tried to solve the mystery in Strangerville, a game pack in The Sims. It was so fun. The next day, I found her in the kitchen trying to bake something. It was a blueberry cheesecake recipe she saw on YouTube. I basically became her cooking assistant that day, helping her as much as I could, and we ended up with a pretty decent outcome that I bet would have tasted better if I hadn't messed up so much. She still said she had so much fun and loved the cheesecake though. The next day, which is just yesterday, something important happened. We were basically just snuggled up on the couch playing when our Sims just autonomously tried for baby in the bed. It was hilarious, and we initially laughed about it, but then we got pretty silent. She then closed her laptop and hugged me tightly, then without saying anything. I think that was my realization that, oh, she feels the same as I do. So I knew I had to speak up. I'm still impressed at myself for managing to talk yesterday without choking up, basically opening up the conversation like, "Are you planning to go to your parents soon?" And she said no, she doesn't feel like it yet. I asked her why. She told me she wanted to stay. I told her I wanted her to stay too. We went to sleep that night just huddled together. And even though we didn't really explicitly say it, I think we're now aware of each other's feelings, and it feels like a really huge improvement to me. Earlier, we ate breakfast together. We weren't as chatty as we've been the last few months, but the silence was comforting. We also watched Knives Out together. We haven't had the conversation yet, but I'm going to bring it up to her tonight. I'm really glad this whole ordeal went much nicer than I expected it would, and I'm relieved I didn't let my doubts get the best of me. Though, I still have to get better with how I communicate things. I'm going to learn for her. Update 2. Right now, my fiancé is sleeping next to me. Yes, we had the talk. As soon as I posted this, I logged out and gathered myself so I can tell her what's been in my mind for months. It's not really something so exciting. We basically just sat down together and talked about what went wrong before. I told her the things I said in my last post, and she admitted to worrying about what happens after the lockdown gets fully lifted too. We both acknowledged that we worked too hard to become financially stable so that we can get married. Right now, though, all we could do is promise and talk about how we're going to manage our time better, since we have no idea if our country is ever going to return to normal. The curve is not getting flattened at all, and the quarantine is about to get extended again. And then we talked about our feelings. I got to tell her I love her again, for the first time in years probably, and she told me the same. After that, it was back to a lighter conversation. We basically just bonded until she fell asleep. I honestly thought only a handful of people would see my post. I made sure to use Reddit because this isn't really a big platform in our country, and I was sure she wouldn't see this post. But now that there are like 20,000 upvotes as I'm typing this, I think she might stumble upon this post sooner or later. Well then, I know she's going to be whining a lot about this, but she'd be glad to know that a lot of people found our relationship wholesome. Thank you all for the kind comments. I know some people are thinking, why haven't you just talked to her in the first place? But getting some perspective from other people really did help give a push. I think if I left myself alone with the thoughts I was having, things would have gone a lot worse. So I'm really grateful. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the awards I received, since this is just a throwaway account though, but it's still cool. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can and then log out. Comments. Devine said, as someone who went through a similar experience, my advice for you two is to make sure you set out a bit of time every day for each other. It's the daily interactions and the little things in your relationship that matter the most, and not the grand gestures. The small talks, joking arounds, watching movies or a TV episode together, all these little things strengthen the bond between you and her. As opposed to if you decide to only focus on your job during the week and to go to a fancy restaurant during the weekend, or go to a long vacation once a year to make up for the lack of attention you've given each other. At that point, you would have been falling out of love with each other. And the time when you decide to spend together, the restaurants and the vacations, would have felt more like you were spending them with a stranger rather than the love of your life. And that would also further push you both apart. I wish you both the best of luck. User Pixis. This just basically shows how much of an impact a community can be. May it be your friends or family or whatever group you hang out with. If supposedly the people here said all the mean things and echoed the negativity that you were thinking when you two broke up, then all efforts from your relationship will be lost. But since a lot of Redditors here are supportive and positive, that made an excellent result and pushed you to realize that the relationship wasn't so bad after all. I hope after this, you both get to keep each other forever. I wish you all the best, OP Laserbees. This. Too many people don't know you have to invest in a relationship to make it healthy. Don't just be passive, as if some outside force will just hand you a good relationship. Be active in investing. Quality time together, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and most importantly, communication. Thank you from me and Jerry for watching. I hope you loved these stories. Don't forget to subscribe that you don't miss new video. See ya!